Peace. Good morning, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. So today is like the follow up from yesterday, the follow up and the follow through. I'll put it that way. It's August the 25th. It is a Thursday. The week is slowly tapering off, heading into the weekend, but it's how you decide to close out your week. How you decide to close out your week is completely up to you. Peace. Good morning, Ms. Anderson. How you determine your week has been to you, again, is completely up to you. You can make or break your week based off of how you see it. You can create the energy in the room and how your week has been and how you're going to allow it to, how you're going to either change it or continue it. That is completely up to you. Again, so we're talking about commitment. Yesterday we spoke about covenant, and I think that the follow up to commitment is a very good follow up, because a lot of times we would talk about or agree to do something, but then you have to ask yourself, how committed are you to that thing that you have agreed to do? So commitment is the follow up to yesterday's covenant, and I just want to jump into it. But again, I thank you for being here. Like always, we're always starting gratitude. We're always start out in peace, because a lot of times we don't know what's going on in people's lives. We don't know what's going on in people's communities or what's going on inside their head, because there may be someone who no one said nothing to them at all yesterday. We don't know how they're feeling. So that's why I always start with gratitude, to tell you thank you, because you might not hear it for the rest of the day. I don't know, but you're going to hear it from me in the morning. So I thank you and I appreciate you for being here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me pull up the caption real quick. All right. So question to you, kind of like yesterday, the proposed question. What are your commitment words? That's an open question that only you can answer. I mean, I can answer it for me. That's why I'm coming with the 4 commitment words, but I want you to figure out or to think, what are your commitment words? The words that is inside of your head when you hear the word commitment, and how do you commit yourself to your commitments as well? So let's go ahead and jump into it. Man, I didn't do no inversions today. Yeah. All right. So commitment, the definition of commitment, it says the act of binding yourself intellectually and emotionally to a course of action. So it says an act of binding yourself intellectually and emotionally to a course of action. Yesterday, we were communicating about the covenant. A covenant, it says, was an agreement. And when you come to an agreement with something, that agreement then kind of becomes a binding document, or whether it is official or unofficial, written or not. So now, as it becomes that binding agreement, there has to be a commitment, or the act of a commitment that you have with that thing that you have agreed to do. So the act of binding yourself intellectually and emotionally to a course of action. And I like how it says intellectually and emotionally, because a lot of times we forget about the emotional commitments, or we forget about the intellectual commitments, because there has to be something that connects you to what it is that you're either doing or going. That's where that commitment is. Commitment is a chain. Commitment is a chain that is filled with many links. That's why I wanted to come out and to talk about my 4 levels of commitment. And again, I want to learn from you too. What are your words of commitment? So let's go with the next definition. It says the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. So having a state of dedication, you have to have a cause, a root cause. Because why are you being committed to that thing that you said that you have agreed to be committed to? Have you committed yourself to start to changing the way you operate in your business? Have you committed to changing how the places that you go, or the things that you eat, or the way that you process things? There is a state or quality that you want. So therefore, you're either going to stand firm on your commitments, or you're going to change your commitments, because there is a different type of quality that you want for yourself in dedicating yourself to that cause or the activities that you choose to commit yourself to. Again, that's talking about just the definition of the word commitment, but getting yourself to see it, how relevant it is to you and in your life, and what are you doing with that quality of commitment. So let's tap into the etymology of it, just to get some root word and some origin of it within itself. So the etymology of commitment, it is Latin, which is committare. Again, if I'm wrong, cool. Put it in the comment, talk about it, however you do it. I don't care what you say, it's still going to add to the algorithm anyway. But it says Latin, committare, and to unite, connect, combine, to bring together. So with your covenant and your agreement to do this particular thing, there is a unit that you're creating to say, it is within my will to do this for the next 30 days. And then you have to unite your words with your actions, because that link between your words and your actions is commitment. And that connection that will connect you to your destination is your commitment. So I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the person said that there is a large moat. There is a large moat between being good and being great. And that connecting piece between being good and being great is your commitment. How committed are you to doing what it is that you have set out for yourself to become great at that thing, or to become great at the process, or to become great at learning more about you? There has to be a connection between who you are and where you're going. And that's the commitment. And the combination and bringing all of that together, that's where we tap into the four words that we're going to talk about today. And that's when we begin to take that deep dive in our words of commitment. So for me, kind of like we spoke about yesterday, we talked about dedication, we talked about consistency, we talked about commitment from yesterday, as well as we talk about decision. So now, because there is a decision that needs to be made, whether you're going to be committed to your growth, or to your health, or committed to your peace and prosperity, there are things that we have to begin to change in our process of thought if we're going to create something new for us. So, like for me, transparent moment. So the things that I have set out for myself, whether it's with me or with a loved one, my children, or my lady, the things is figuring out how committed do I want to be to it. Because without having that commitment, there won't be a change. There won't be anything happy about it. There won't be anything that is going to put you in a place, like I say all the time, in a place of perfect peace. because commitment will bring you to that perfect peace and knowing what you want to do and how you want to do it. And when you get into that level of commitment, there is a level of devotion that has to take place, because devotion actually reminds you of what to focus on, and it aligns you with your priorities. Because after you have assigned yourself to the uh the act or the action or the activities that you want to do, now you have to become devoted to the task. Now you have to become real with yourself on how well am I willing to do this thing to go from being good to being great. Am I willing to be devoted to the words that I've written down? Because if it says write the vision and make it plain, that means I have to have true intent in having a devotion with myself and be devoted to the task of writing it out, and understand that if I'm writing it out, I'm doing it for a reason. And now that I see and I'm looking at it, am I devoted to the cause? Am I aligned with my priorities? Because your devotion actually begins the process of strengthening your why. That's how you figure out, why am I doing these things? Let me reflect. That's your devotion with yourself. Devotion is also your self-reflection. Sitting down with you, writing these things down about you and what you want to do and where you want to go, and acknowledging that if I want to go to this particular place, I must be devoted to the task, or devoted to my gifts, or devoted to my skill sets, because that devotion is essential to your connection of the covenant and the goals that you have in your life. Because the devotion also provides you with the avenue of the interactions that you need to maintain that level of constant and consistent growth, because you're tapped into yourself. You're tapped into your process of thought. You're tapped into that inner man and having those inner conversations in those moments that you need to sit down and listen to yourself think. It's like, that's when you said, I need to hear myself think. So that's when you have those personal devotions with you, and not running away from that time that you need to have with you. Because when you begin that process of devoting those things and devoting that time, it actually is going to give you a sense of direction. Direction is the where of your commitment. Like, where are you going? We're going in that direction. That's why I put direction as one of the 4 words of commitment. Because when you understand that is going to take a firm direction that's going to allow you to maintain that mental resilience, and the commitment is going to get you from where you are to where you strive to go. And when you do it, you're going to have to understand that if I'm going to get there, I must begin to stop procrastinating and be devoted to the direction that I'm going. And when I have stopped the procrastination and I am become devoted to the direction that I'm going, I have to find my focus that is going to keep me going in that direction. And in order for me to go in that direction, you have to take action. Because there's been times where I see, people, or I've even dealt with it. Sometimes I still deal with it with myself. Um, we are not committed to the action, so therefore there won't be a direction that we're going, so you become stagnant. I hate when I plateau, like with certain things. I feel like I plateau, and because I plateau, it feels like I've lost the sense of direction, or I'm trying to figure out what's next, or I feel like that I've grown to a point to where I feel stagnant. Because when you're feeling stagnant, you don't go in a direction. It's like still waters. There's really no set direction that the water is going. It's just there. And that's when you have to take action. Like, okay, I need to read more. I need to, maybe I find a different book to read, or read one paragraph one day and reflect on that paragraph, or listen to a different type of podcast, or listen to a different type of video, in order for me to tap in to my innermost being, or in order for me to set aside time for me to have my own individual devotion, to where I can begin the process of growing. Because when you're developing that process of growth, that's when you begin to recognize your purpose. That's how your devotion and your direction take you into discipline, because you have recognized your purpose. And when you've recognized your purpose, it's going to take discipline to keep you there. Because within the chains of commitment, there is a link called discipline. But the link is only there for those who understand that discipline is going to keep you together. Discipline is going to connect you between that good to great. It's going to allow you to pull yourself closer to being great, because your discipline, that state of mind of being disciplined, is going to allow you to grow and to continue to grow. That discipline is going to build your endurance, because discipline holds you to the agreement. Because, like yesterday, covenant is an agreement, but your discipline keeps you in the covenant. Discipline would teach you and hold you accountable for your level of commitment. But you have to be willing to do it, because your discipline is the how of your commitment. Like, how am I going to get this done? I must remain disciplined, or I must develop new avenues of discipline. I need to be disciplined with waking up in the morning and getting my day started, taking action, like we said in the previous word. I need to be disciplined in how I take action. I need to be disciplined in how I communicate to myself. I need to be disciplined in the places that I go. I need to be disciplined in who I surround myself with. I need to be disciplined in my own self-encouragement. I can't be disciplined for you, and you can't be disciplined for me. That is a self-assessment as well as a self-actualization that I am not as disciplined as I thought I was. Now, for me, I was kind of in that moment, I think this past day, and I was like, wow, I haven't been as good as I thought I was. For me, I was like, I haven't been the best father this year, or the best man this year, or whatever it is. I had to take that self-assessment. And then I have to look at my discipline level and what I've been doing thus far, in order for me to determine where I'm going next. I have to look at where have I been, and how was I doing it. And remember, discipline is your how to your commitment. And when you figure that out, and you have created that level of discipline, and you have worked on that level of discipline, that's when you become determined. Determination is transformative, right? Because there's gonna be some times you just not gonna feel like doing it. That's just true. It's honest. There's gonna be times where I do not feel like getting up this morning and doing what I normally do. Now, not saying that I don't feel like getting up this morning, I feel like dying, but there's gonna be times where you say, I don't feel like getting up and doing this. But that's when you fall back and say, okay, my discipline is telling me to get up. My determination has to kick in now, because my discipline has kicked me in the head and told me to get up, because I'm dedicated to the cause, and I'm dedicated to the mission, and I'm dedicated to the growth, and I'm dedicated to the level of resiliency, because I have been here before. And what did I do the last time that I didn't feel like getting up? What did I do the last time I didn't feel determined? Your resiliency is going to allow you to bounce back, to allow that determination to kick in. And that's when the real work begins. Opening up doors to opportunities and realities for yourself, and being okay with learning more about you and putting yourself in a position as you develop and as you design and redesign. That's when you know that my determination has aligned me with my personal covenant that I have with me. And that is going to allow me to go in a direction that is progressive. So now my question to you is, what are your words of commitment? It's whatever it is for you. It could be dedication. Are you dedicated to being committed to that thing that you are committed to? Again, totally up to you. But when you sit down and do that devotion or that self-reflection and you find those words out, a lot of times those words could catapult you in a direction, or those words can allow you to do that real self-assessment. Be like, okay, have I been committed to this? You write it down. Have I been committed? Yes or no? Okay, have I been dedicated to this? No, not really. So then why haven't you been dedicated? What did you do when you're not doing this? How did you feel when this happened, when this took place? That's when you are taking that real self-assessment and finding what are those words of commitment that allows you to see you when you need to see yourself. It's not always about how other people see you. How do you see you? You need to find those words or find that thing that makes you change. Nothing is going to make you change until you change. No one can make you change until you change. Conviction can be the word that creates the newness or the change in your daily activities by just simply being convicted to making that change. Mr. Ward said, perseverance. So I put that up so some of y'all can see. He said perseverance, meaning that no matter what I go through, I will get through it. Trust the process. 100%. So that's his words of commitment. His words of commitment is perseverance. Are you willing to endure to get to where you're going? Perseverance. It's not about how others see it, it's how you see it. How do you see you? How have you held on for so long? I've held on so long because I have been here before and I've persevered through so much more things than what I'm going through right now. And I'm committed to the cause. And I can do it again because my level of resiliency have showed up over and over again. And because it showed up, it has strengthened me and it has taught me lessons that I have never been taught before. But now I'm a lot more committed to the cause because I know it's going to take that mental endurance. I know it's going to take that mental perseverance. I know it's going to take that physical perseverance that's going to get me through so many other doors because I'm committed to knocking. I'm committed to the knock. Are you committed to the knock? Because being committed to the knock, that might be a whole nother podcast. Are you committed to the knock? That might be tomorrow. Let me write that down before I forget. To the knock. Let me tell you about committed to the knock. Let me sit back on this one real quick. Committed to the knock. Committed to the knock is, I don't care how many doors I go to. I don't care how many places I've been, how many places I've gone. I have to be committed to the knock. You got hard knock life. You got knocking on doors. You get knocked down. Oh man, it's like a whole show for tomorrow. Let me stop. I'm going to use that tomorrow. So I see y'all tomorrow. We're going to talk about being committed to the knock. That's going to be a good one. Committed to the knock. That's going to be tomorrow. So I see you tomorrow. I'm going to open y'all. All right, Mr. Ward, you open that door. And I'm going to bust clean through it tomorrow. Being committed to the knock. That's going to be a good one. So I'm going to leave that one alone because it's going to feed into tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow we're going to close out strong with committed to the knock. Yeah, we're gonna bust down some doors tomorrow. So if you've been here today, you can be here tomorrow. Because I'm going to ask you, are you committed to the knock? Y'all be blessed. Here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I see you tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. as we close out this week strong because we're going to knock on some doors tomorrow. Peace.